What witticisms are we going to have?
I think we should have the one where you can pronounce witticisms.
Witticisms.
No, you got it right. You just couldn't say it together.
Whatever, mate. Anyway, let's start.
Well, we already have.
Oh, we already started. He's already pressed record. And I've just been talking about witticisms. And you're going to keep this in, aren't you?
Absolutely.
Oh my God, you're such a pain.
Welcome to Decluttr Me, everybody. It's Chirag and Shelina.
Hi.
Today,
Shelina, who can't pronounce witticisms. Ooh, I did then.
the problem wasn't witticisms. The problem was witty witticisms. Try that one again.
So, hi, Chirag.
Hello.
Hi.
So we're digging, like, we're just gonna dig right into the Apple world today.
You know what? We're going to lose so many people who don't have Apple products and going to
or we're gonna have a bunch of Android people be like, well, that's been on Android for like 3 years already. I think that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yeah, we're going to talk about Apple because we love Apple. I've just discovered that I haven't got an Apple bundle and I should just get an Apple bundle and save myself money.
We were working your way up there.
Chirag didn't tell me this until
I did.
now.
We spoke about it on the show.
Yeah, he talked about it on the show, but just didn't actually tell me. Do you have an Apple bundle, Shelina? No, I don't have an Apple bundle. I have just been buying everything separately.
It's a new thing. It's fine.
Okay, fine. Apple should tell people that there's this thing and just go, all right, look, we're just going to merge it all together.
I'm fairly confident that you probably just deleted that email.
Most probably I decluttered it. There is that. I do declutter a lot of things. I get a lot of emails. Anyway, what are we going to talk about at Apple today?
Well, today specifically, we're talking about a new feature that's coming to iOS 15, which is out in September, or should be out in September.
Right. And you're testing it out now because...
Well, I'm on the public beta of iOS 15, which is something that Apple runs as part of its... So it does a developer beta and then eventually does a public beta. So if you can actually install the beta version on your phone if you want to try it out or test things or just use the features. Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, it's a beta, so it's a little bit buggy. So we don't recommend widespread use of it, and ideally don't recommend. But the beta this year and even last year, actually, to a large degree, were very stable and are very stable.
Right. Okay.
So it's not so bad. But iOS 13 was a nightmare because like the phone would just keep crashing and stuff. I mean, the beta version especially, like it was quite unstable because it changed a lot of underlying things. But anyway, specifically, I actually wanted to talk about focus mode because it's something that we've talked about quite a lot, and notifications and all those things, and Apple is kind of attempting to address that. Sorry, Android people, but you do have as well. You also have like the do not disturbs and the custom do not disturb stuff, so it's not alien to you in a way. So one of the things that, as you know, we have something called do not disturb, which is activated on the iPhone and other devices, which turns off alerts. And sometimes it can be activated automatically. So I don't know if you get these alerts or not, but I do when I have calendar entries.
Right.
And then occasionally it'll prompt and be like, hey, should I turn off or should I activate do not disturb while you're in this meeting?
No, I don't have that. Why don't I have that? No, but I use Google Calendar now because iCal kept on.
So that might be why as well.
Yeah, because iCal.
But you can sync, if you sync your Google Calendar with your iCal, then you can.
Yeah, it is. They're synced, but they don't. It doesn't link to do not disturb in that way. No.
Okay, so I think maybe you need to. We can look into that, but there's a Siri suggestion thing that you might need to turn on.
Right.
Where Siri just gives you suggestions of different things, which is something we've used for apps as well, right? So we have a Siri box, and Siri kind of figures out that I'm probably going to want this app at this time, and kind of starts fronting it or location.
Yep.
So one of those suggestions it gives actually is, oh, do you want to turn on do not disturb? Because clearly you're going to be on a call,
right?
Kind of thing.
Okay.
But anyway, the point is that Apple is now switching that do not disturb mode and actually calling it focus mode.
Right. Okay.
And the idea is that you can do custom things with it. So previously, do not disturb meant specific things. You set one set of rules, which essentially meant no notifications. And then if someone really wanted to get through, they had to, like, you could set if they could call you twice or thrice before, you did that. And those are the kind of settings.
Yeah. So I have do not disturb at night. So after 11 o'clock at night.
Right. Yeah. So that's a scheduled version of it. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So now what they're doing is now they've split it into different kind of, hence focus modes. So you could have, just like you said, a sleep mode. And then you can schedule that to activate at a certain time of the day. But in the sleep mode, or what's changing now is what apps and what people, or which people should get through. Right. Changes based on which kind of focus mode it is. Right. Which is where it starts to get interesting and a little bit more custom. Yeah. So for example, we're recording right now. I have activated something called podcast recording mode. And I've essentially
cool.
And I've essentially said, don't give me any alerts. Like, don't interrupt my phone at all.
Yeah.
Except for a couple of people, like family.
Yeah.
If they need to get through, and stuff like that. So you can customize it at a people level and say these people should be allowed to reach me and these people shouldn't, which is actually very interesting when you're trying to do like work.
Yeah.
So if you want to be in a work mode, you can just activate and say, yeah, fine. Like, I want to focus at work and I'm kind of getting through something. But obviously, if my boss or if an important partner or whatever calls, let them through, but nobody else, right?
Yeah.
And the same thing for apps. So if I'm in a work mode, then I don't want to be able to see Instagram alerts, and I don't want to see, I don't know, Snapchat or other apps. What do people use these days? I don't really know.
TikTok.
There we go. Thank you.
You're so old school with
I know,
Snapchat.
clearly, like I've just like stepped out of this thing.
Yeah.
But the point is, again, you don't see alerts of certain apps coming in.
Right.
Or for example, the inverse, which is if you're in a work mode and you want Slack notifications to come through. So you say, hey, I want to receive notifications from Slack.
Right.
Or other apps that you might use for work, whatever those things are. So that's what you can kind of set up.
Right.
And then there is a mode to do like a smart activation thing as well. So it can kind of figure out based on where you are. So of course, not super true for us, but if people work in an office, it can determine, you're in office, that means you want to be in work mode, hence we'll activate the work mode.
Right.
And stuff like that. So it kind of becomes an automated thing, just like you were doing with sleep, but now you can do it with work, you can do it with other things. So for example, when we're at the studio, I could say, hey, when I'm in this location, just turn on podcast recording mode, because obviously if I'm in the studio, I'm doing it for recording, so stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so that those things are kind of automatically activated.
Right.
And then it's also like, that there is a value in having only certain apps get through at certain times, because that kind of helps with focus in terms of what you're doing. Because I think one of the biggest things we have with notifications is the distraction.
Yeah, but then there is the flip of the coin for me is that I don't have notifications for a lot of apps now. I am very limited on the apps that notify me, which would be my phone call, SMS, WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I don't have all the social media apps don't come as notifications for me because it became too overwhelming and distracting. I mean, I've got double the accounts for each one.
Right.
But you have it for Instagram, right?
I keep it on for Instagram, because we get DMs and we get requests from people and a lot of them use Instagram. So for me, it's good for me to know that it's coming through. Yeah.
I mean, I get those a lot of those DMs, but I will check I'm on Instagram every few hours anyway to check. And while I'm having a break when I'm working, I will look at all my accounts like email, social media very quickly and see if there's anything. So, but that's my habit that I've built in, and other people might not have that habit, but that's something to think about as well with regards to the do not disturb. Yes, that's great to help you to focus, but also think about what do you want to get notifications from during that time and when you're not on do not disturb or focus time. Because if you're getting too many notifications overall, this is a good time now to remove those, right? And then to limit what is happening when you're on that mode. It's called what? Focus mode.
It's called focus mode, yeah.
So this is a good time to do that. And it's another one to do while Netflix and mini declutter, like sit in front of the Netflix and
and I think we've spoken on the show a few times. Like I'm a big fan of like just turning off notifications, especially for new apps, so you don't know or anyway, especially like something like TikTok or Instagram and stuff, where it is a pleasure thing.
Yeah.
And you are checking it frequently, so you will see the notifications when you pop in there. I think there's something to that, and I think that should be done.
Yeah.
What I think this is useful for is like the inverse of that, which is to say that even if I have, let's say, WhatsApp on, because obviously I have people contact me, but I want to get into like a focus zone. Yeah. Like let's take my example. When I get into editing mode, when I'm sitting and editing through an episode or whatever, I need to focus and listen on that, right? And one of the things that happens a lot is a WhatsApp notification will get in the way of that sometimes. And I'll see something and I'll start a conversation or something. So it's not like I'm getting an Instagram notification that's taking me away, but it's actually like it's a genuine thing. Yeah. But it could have waited, right? And the fact that I can say, no, I only want to see something from this person because I know, or it's a family member or whatever, that where I know it will be an emergency if they're calling me. Yeah. Only do it then. And the other nice thing, of course, as Apple tends to do, is the moment you activate a focus mode on one device, it goes to all of your devices. Right. So the moment you're in that mode, then it's not like when you're sitting on your Mac, you're going to then get inundated. It's going to apply the same rules there for you too. Okay, so that's which is nice as well. Yeah. Yeah. And then people are doing, they're taking that a step further as well. So now in the new iOS, this is the part I still have to test all of these, like the scheduled stuff and automatically figure out things because I've had it for a little while.
Right.
But there's, people are using automation, which is an app called Shortcuts, which allows you to automate certain actions on the iPhone.
Right.
And so saying when Do Not Disturb mode is activated, like also turn off my ability to see those apps, because you can have that control on turning off access to apps at certain times a day or after a certain amount of time, activated when I'm in focus mode. And so it's just turning into this whole, like, now my phone is only a workspace because I can only see the apps that I need for work, and it doesn't suggest anything else, and it just turns into this like thing because as much as like all the notifications we turn off and all the awareness we have, like you get distracted. It's so easy. And the fact that if I'm in editing mode and if I can't get to my browser, that would completely change how I edit, because I would just not be able to get distracted. So I think it's an interesting approach. I mean, I still have to play with it and try it, but I can see how there's value in having sort of custom scenes, because when I'm recording or rather, like when you're sleeping, there's a certain set of rules. You're like, only immediate family, whatever. But when you're in a work mode, like you don't mind getting notifications from a few other people. And the fact that you can set that separately now is kind of nice.
That's good. So it's good to see. So that's coming out it
should be out generally Apple does the release in about this 3rd to 4th week of September.
Right. Okay. So look out for that and see how it goes. I mean, I was a bit late because for some reason my phone and my watch wasn't updating properly, but I finally got the, you can unlock your phone from your watch.
When you're wearing a mask,
Yeah, when you're wearing a mask, and which has just been a lifesaver for me. And like I could see people talking about it on Twitter, and I was like, why is it not working for me? And it was driving me insane. But that's just been a godsend. And I think a lot of people have been relieved about that there is that. So as much as we talk about Apple, but there are elements of Apple where it joins up together on all the different
that's the same with the focus mode
devices.
But by the way, you can unlock your Mac. I don't know if your Mac has that or not, but you can unlock your Mac with your watch as well, right? So same thing again. It's like that integration.
It had that, and then because I changed my watch, I accidentally broke the old one. For some reason, it wouldn't work, even though I'd set it up for the new watch. Right. So at the same time as the phone thing started working, it's now started working again on my computers.
On the Mac as well.
But the problem is that wherever you pass like say I pass my iMac, even if don't want to go onto it, it will unlock itself.
Right.
So that's an irritation. That I don't want the screen I find it a waste of energy and a waste of screen time opening up. It's one of those things I'm like, it doesn't need to be on. Why is it on? Like, but it does that. But as soon as you walk past, it will decide to switch itself on.
It's a proximity thing, so it does it based on closeness to the device.
So that's the only thing. But that's the great thing, and I'm sure with Android they have some, the syncability with the different devices, right? Like they do with Apple.
No, it's different, right? Because the layers are different. So this happens at Apple's level, which means it as soon as the OS comes out, it's on all the devices, it's on everything. With Android, that's the catch. Like you can get the latest and greatest on the one thing, but then you can't necessarily translate it to the tablet, and the PCs are generally Windows, for example, if you're not, or Macs. So again, that's a little bit of always a catch, and it's one of the reasons I think why we spend and continue to be in the Apple ecosystem, because for us it's about the fact that we can use all of our devices together, and there's so for me, like, because I use an iPad, the moment I do something on my iPhone, it's synced to my iPad, move on quickly kind of thing. So.
I think and I mean, as much as people might say that we are sucked into the Apple vortex, it is, for us, it helps with productivity. Absolutely. It helps with us not being overwhelmed, and to declutter things because all of our devices are linked to each other. So that is, and I think I know a lot of organizers around the world are all Apple geeks as well for the same reason. So,
and I think it's also a little bit of, I know obviously the non-Apple devices have come a long way in the last decade or so.
Yeah.
But I've been using them now, Apple, almost for a decade plus. But one of the things that used to happen is every 6 months, every 8 months, I would have an issue with my device. Yeah. Something would go wrong. I would lose a day, a few hours. Yeah. And that's just something that I don't, as someone that when I work for myself, that's not really an option I have. I don't have spare devices. I don't have an IT team who can come and dump another device on my desk while they go fix my issue. Exactly. Right? I got to go deal with it. And the fact that I can use a device, not have a problem with it, have syncability and
Touchwood.
So that's one of those things. And then again, same thing with something like a focus mode coming out. I only have to set it up once. It's on all my devices. Like those. I mean, it plays a large part in what we're doing, obviously.
Awesome. So that's our
intro into focus mode.
Yes. So
yeah, you should check it out.
All right. Awesome.
Cool. Well, as always, if you want to talk digital focus or real life focus and general decluttering, you can do that by reaching out to Shelina at Decluttr Me. So that's at DCLUTTRME. She doesn't get notified, but she checks it every few hours.
I do.
And then we'll see you again next week.
Bye.
Bye.